This is just some unnecessary random information that isn't important to understand or even to just enjoy Dune. The name originally was Harkonnen. Not sure how Frank Herbert thought the name was supposed to be pronounced, but the correct pronunciation of the original name is Harkonnen. Herbert wanted a harsh sounding name, and he was going through a California phone book when he happened upon the name Harkonnen. He thought it sounded Soviet. It isn't, it's Finnish. The name was later altered to Harkonnen? Harkonnen. I can't pronounce it the way Herbert meant it to be pronounced. If the name had been altered to Harkonnen or Harkonnen instead of Harkonnen, it would have still kind of sounded Finnish. The double N specifically there is what throws it off. In Finland, names are often related to nature, and the name Harkonnen comes from the word härkä, which means bull or ox. So accidentally, Herbert chose quite a fitting name for the antagonists. Until fairly recently, Finland didn't have a uniform practice for last names. Essentially, the surrounding cultures leached into Finland. Some parts started using last names far later than others. Other parts used place names as last names. Some used the son, dotter endings, and some parts of Eastern Finland copied the Eastern European way of having gendered suffixes. The nen ending in Harkonnen is a Finnish masculine suffix, essentially the masculine version of actor, actress. And tar ending is the feminine counterpart for the nen suffix. So because of the ending, we know that Harkonnen originates from Eastern Finland, and it can be traced at least to the 16th century. In Finland, place names and last names are sometimes related. People would be called what they live near. For example, Koivula, Koivu means birch, so the family might have lived next to a birch grove. People would also use their family estate's name as their last name, and this can be seen even today, as it is common to introduce people as a possessive of their last name. For example, John Doe would be introduced as Doe's John. In some places, when people married, they would take the estate's or house name regardless of gender. In Finland, there are several places called Härkälä, Harkola, and Harkonnen. So if the last name had been attached to an estate, then in Eastern Finland, all the male members of the family, even the ones who married into it, would have been Harkonnen, and all the female members would have been Härkötär. And the estate would have been called either Härkälä or Härkölä. And they most likely at some point would have had bulls or oxes. However, the most common practice was for everyone to keep their own last name. Around 1800s, 1900s, the last name practice started to change, and eventually, when last names became mandatory in 1920, in order to have a uniform practice across the whole country, Finland chose to adopt the more Central European way. From the gendered suffixes, the masculine nen and son survived, and the feminine tar and dotter became obsolete. So Harkonnen is still in use, and Härkötär isn't. And in 1930, it became mandatory for women to take their husband's last name. But this only lasted till the 80s. So, to end with, the la ending basically means the place has that particular thing in it. Kahvila, cafe, kahvi, coffee. So kahvila is a place to get coffee. Sairaala, hospital, sairas, sick. So it's a place for the sick. Ravintola, restaurant, ravinto, nutrition. So a restaurant is a place to get nutrition. Very straightforward.